Every transit has a rhythm, and every 12 years, Jupiter returns to the fiery and bright sign of Leo. And this is a big one this summer. From June through September of this year, Jupiter forms an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius that forms exact on July 20th. Inside a rare pattern, some astrologers call the barbell basket, and I call the cosmic cradle. Like, seriously, why do white men always name shit after them? A cradle holds you, even as it asks you to grow. This is part two of my new Jupiter and Leo series, pulled from the masterclass I taught inside Star Powered Circle, my global community for changemakers and leaders. If these conversations are your kind of thing, you're welcome to join us. Let's map out these dates and what this Pluto opposition and this cosmic cradle, not barbelt basket, sorry, Mr. Barbelt, is really asking of you. I'm Leslie Tagorda, a business astrologer and creator of the Astro Brand Method, blending more than 20 years of brand strategy with the precision of astrology to help entrepreneurs and underrepresented leaders make their mark. So, Jupiter will be entering Leo on June 30th, and it'll be staying there through August 27, August 24th of 2027. So, we're going to get a little bit more than a year of Jupiter in Leo. So, we'll also have the South Node in Leo. We'll have a lot of different things as Jupiter moves through Leo. Right now, Jupiter is moving really, really quickly. It's going to slow down with its retrograde. And so we get a nice kind of spacious, almost 12, 13 months of Jupiter in Leo. That'll be sitting, across from my Aquarius. So I'm kind of happy for that. What's really interesting about this particular Jupiter in Leo, it usually spends the orbit of 12 years, a year in each sign. The last time Jupiter was in Leo was back in 2014, July of 2014. Then again in 2002, then again, back in time, time machine, 1990, and then back in 1978. And so, you can take a look at these every 12-year time periods of what was happening for you in your life at this time. I feel like I look back on those days and go, "Oh, those were such good days." um but in general themes, right? Because Leo is the sign of the sun, and the sun rules everything gold. Generally, gold prices increase. And if you've been following gold prices, I follow gold prices because I like gold, and I'm like, ooh, it's very, very expensive right now. And generally, when we have gold prices increase, especially with the South Node, I'm going to do a talk with an astrologer friend of mine soon for when the North Node moves into Aquarius and the South Node moves into Leo, about the top of, like, the bottom of the financial um the wheel of fortune that this happens, right? And so when stock markets go down, gold prices go up. And so we're going to see some of those themes, especially as it coincides with the South Node in Leo. But for now, some of the other key themes, I'm not much of a mundane astrologer. So if you follow any astrologers like Wade Caves or Celeste Brooks or Dabney Lawless, they are talking about mundane astrology, just like the events of the world. And so they will have a greater insight. But generally, Gaza and Ukraine are signified by Jupiter. And, we will see some amplification of these conflicts in the world. Of course, because Leo rules drum, rules entertainment, we might see like celebrity drama or royal drama coming up. And of course, maybe we're going to see Pope Leo come into the spotlight at this time with some religious and philosophical events. And who knew that the Catholic Pope, it would be, the person to really oppose our president as we celebrate our 250th anniversary of the signing the Declaration of Independence, that formed the United States. Like, can you believe that all of this is happening? So, we need to kind of watch out, notice the signs if anybody is interested in history and politics of how Jupiter moving through Leo is going to amplify these themes, like, inflame these themes. And remember that Jupiter, um, even though it is the sign of expansion and amplification, you know, Jupiter, even though we think of it as a benefic, Jupiter, if you're feeling like shit, if the world is like already like in flames, Jupiter inflames those things, right? It expands, it ignites, it's going to amplify what is already in movement. Um, Carmen is acknowledging that these times in Leo, Jupiter and Leo have been significant. Well, of course, you also have your rising sign in in Leo, and
Yeah, Jupiter.
oh yeah, you're exactly. And then Dr. Sweta says, I guess that's one good thing about Indian dowries. Families save gold for their daughters from birth so they can marry them off well. I took a synodic cycles course about the Jupiter Saturn conjunction that we had back in 2020 and how the phases align with career transitions, and is right on the money. 14 years ago, when my Jupiter Saturn was conjunct, I left my professional role as a professor of pharmacy. Absolutely. And so, one of the things that's specific to this time with Jupiter moving into Leo, Jupiter is going to be moving in on June 30th, but at the same time, because Pluto is still in those early degrees of Aquarius, we are going to have a Jupiter Pluto opposition that is exact on July 20th. But as you can see from this graph that's created by archetypalexplorer.com, that we have this peak, and then we have some other aspects that are also forming at this time, that we'll talk about in just a second. But Jupiter, Pluto, right? Pluto is intense. Pluto is for the people. Jupiter in Leo, maybe this is about leaders. As we head into July, you might have heard some other astrologers talk about like this is going to be a very, very active time in the world. I'm curious what you're already feeling about this energy here. Has anybody seen the signs or felt this Jupiter opposite Pluto? Because we're almost in it, right? We're feeling it already. Pluto's at about 4 degrees of Aquarius, and Jupiter is moving pretty quickly right now. I know that earlier when we were first getting on, we were talking about just like how everything's been so windy, so activating.
Well, I'm going to be bold and say down here,
Uh-huh.
at the bottom of the world, we are having some, I'm going to use the word interesting and potentially dangerous political challenges because our two major parties have pissed everybody off. This little, her name is Pauline Hanson. She's a fiery redhead, has been around for years, has her own beliefs, like she wants Australia to be monoculture, not multicultural.
Oh gosh.
The words she uses to describe transgender people, the people that don't fit in, it's quite scary, chillingly scary actually, and people are loving it. She's really gaining momentum because we're so pissed off with what was the norm here in Australia.
Mm.
Suddenly, there's this redhead that people are seeing as a lighthouse. And for me, for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And the momentum she's gaining, she's now more popular than the two major parties in Australia. And that's just never happened.
That's wild. What are the people, like the everyday people, doing to rise up?
Well, it certainly fills the pages of the newspaper at the moment because she's doing a national tour. She's got the backing of Gina Reinhardt, who is an incredibly wealthy woman here, well, in the world. But there's money, there's fire underneath her that is giving her this platform. But the idea of her being out on the global stage for Australia is truly just shocking, absolutely shocking. But it's the speed with which Leslie, she has appeared, caught the major parties unaware, and she's commanding the stage. She is anti-immigration.
Right.
She's white Australia policy. And she does not back off in her language.
And Trisha, you're on the opposite end. You felt hope watching the Obamas. Is this with in relation to the park library museum, that the center that that they opened?
You
Yeah.
know, just with everything, it just was so refreshing and electric and I felt those feelings that I felt back when he was in office and it just it picked me up a little.
Yeah. The Obamas have always ran on the idea of hope,
Mhm.
right? When they go low, we go high. And so like that's, we can that I think that's really important in these times, especially with Jupiter, right? Jupiter is going to magnify and amplify however we're feeling. And so if we can, bring in the hope of the Obamas, remember those days? I think 2014, right? That those we're still in the Obama days. Yes, Carmen.
Uh, Hello.
Hello.
I'm kind of in middle here because you were talking about all the fire and air and what does that feel like? Well, I feel like I'm coming home personally because I already have so much fire and air in
Yes.
my thing, and
Yes.
so it and I got this image of a bonfire, um and I just feel since I've joined this group of people, my one little bonfire on the beach started off really small, and I've just kept constantly adding, keeping the flame going, and I can feel it getting um uh uh what I don't want to say aged. I can feel it. I can feel the embers being built solidly.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me.
You
And
can't burn it out. You can't blow it out. Like it's
yeah, those beautiful embers that you get that just like so I can
hold.
feel that, and I feel that that's what's happening, and it's a lot of energy. So I am trying to do my best to just stay in the cone, and I mean I can't even deal with the outside world. I'm just like, no, this is about me. Like I can't. I read headlines, but I just anyway. So that's my 2 cents.
Beautiful. Thanks for the share. As we kind of look at more of the astrology of this Jupiter in Leo this time around, yeah, we have the Pluto opposition. Um, and if you had come to my 2026 star in the stars talk at the end of last year, at the beginning of 2026, I had called out this trapezoid figure. Well, later on, did I only find out it actually has a name? It's called what is it called? It's called oh yeah, Barbalt basket, named after like this French astrologer that discovered and named this thing, this French guy. I'm like, why do all white men name things after themselves? Because I didn't know it was called that. I kind of have a problem with that. Because when I called this, I was like, oh, look, it looks like a cat's cradle. Maybe this is a cosmic cradle holding us all. I'm not going to call this like the Tagorda basket. Like, that's so dumb. This is for all of us. Cecilia, everything, even body parts in women are named after men. Um, and Ishel says birds are going through a rename right now to be less human centered. Right, Carmen? I like Cosmic Cradle. They want to be immortalized always. Right. So, you know what? Every time you see the barbell, basket, can we just say, like, no, that's the Cosmic Cradle? It's holding us all, right? And so, what's really interesting, what I wanted to explore, because this trapezoid figure, right? Pluto, Jupiter, and this opposition, then we have these two trines, this air trine with Pluto and Uranus in Gemini, and then this fire with, Saturn is in there too. Saturn is kind of moved a little bit beyond Neptune, but we can pull Saturn in with Neptune and Aries, this fire trine here with Jupiter, even right here and now. Like if you look at the astrology of the right here and right now, you see this trapezoid already. There's a sextile between Uranus and Neptune, and then we have these two trines, the fire trines, everything's in sextile. And so we have this very, sextiles and trines are very supportive, right? And then we have this opposition kind of like pulling us or holding us. Maybe it's bonding us, maybe it's a bridge instead of pulling us apart. But when we come back to this cat's cradle game, the string game that we all played when we were little, this is ancient, like Stone Age ancient. And all cultures across the globe played this. And what do we play this for? Right. I talked about this a little bit in literature in Kurt Vonnegut's 1963 novel, The Cat's Cradle. And it's a complex game, a metaphor for how we are all intertwined. So if Pluto is to intensify, Jupiter is expanding, Uranus is disrupting, Neptune is inspiring. I don't remember what planets were creating this form when Barbault saw it, but he looked at this kind of aspect pattern and said, oh, this is, a new cosmic order, a new collective order. And I'm like, yeah, we're in it right now. And so, this is late July. We're at peak in this energy. When we get that Scorpio moon, it'll be sitting straight across Chiron that would have moved into Taurus. And then we have this basket forming. And at the time, like Jupiter will be creating a T square. Whew, just mark your calendars, try to take some time off around this. It's going to be really, 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 really busy. So thank you again. If this podcast has touched your heart, please share it with others. Please leave me a rating and review so we can reach the hearts of even more change makers like you.